It's hard to believe, even for myself and Mrs. W, just how this garden looks today. We grow many vegetables here and sustain ourselves in vegetables for almost the entirety of the 12 months in the year. But it wasn't always like this. And I was thinking to myself the other day, what if somebody's watching our channel that wants to start a vegetable patch for the first time? What would I do if that was me? In today's video, I should be telling you exactly what I would do if I were to start a vegetable patch in 2026. We've been gardening in one form or another for a long, long time now. And whether it be gardening containers because we didn't have much space, or when our parents gave us our first patch of soil that we could cultivate and grow some vegetables. That's how we learnt. And it struck me that we have over 80 years worth of garden experience between us.
Oh my goodness.
That makes you feel old, doesn't it, Mrs. W?
I know, I am old, but oh my goodness.
Back in 2014, that's when we moved to this property. And when we moved here, everything you see now, up to the greenhouse, was just all grass. Grass everywhere. But what we could see, we had the vision to be able to see that actually we could grow our own veg here. Got a bit more space than we've ever had before. In fact, right where I'm standing now, just in this piece of soil here and onto the other side, the man that used to live here before us and grew his vegetables, this is exactly where he grew his runner beans. There was a post that side and a post that side. That didn't have to take some getting up, didn't it, Mrs. W? Concreted in.
They were.
He used to dig a trench every season, fill it up, and every year he would grow his runner beans and climbing French beans exactly in this position. In fact, beyond the greenhouse, where you see the polytunnel now, where the chickens are, where the shed is, all of that was like a huge jungle. It was like taking over an allotment for the very first time. While we were clearing it, we found some old corrugated outbuildings, didn't we?
You did, yes, yes.
We had nettles that were up here.
Brambles that grew everywhere.
Oh, but still, that did not deter us. We still had the vision in our minds of exactly how we could shape this. We didn't actually move here because of the house. The house was far from perfect, myself and Mrs. W and our ever-expanding family. It was more the garden. We could see the vision of what we could do to actually really have a good go at growing as much of our own food as possible. Over the years, of course, we've made alterations to the house so that it suits our living. Back in 2014, first thing I did was to go out and hire a rotavator. And I made these 4 beds that you can see here. They are 14 feet by 12 feet. It was extremely hard work. I remember I came out in September, was still rotavating in December. Really, really hard work. We'd never heard of New Dig then. New Dig wasn't on our radar. And when I look back now and I think to myself, how many hours or days or months have I wasted during my lifetime digging over vegetable plots? That time could have been spent much better. More time with Mrs. W, more time with my children, more time with our grandchildren. They've actually really benefited because they came along after we became New Dig. That frees up our time. If I was starting a vegetable patch in 2026, the first thing I would do is to make myself a New Dig bed. It's quick and it's easy. You can make a growing space within a matter of hours and you can plant straight into it. I'll leave a link to our video where we made a New Dig bed in just 3 hours and planted up 400 onions if you need any more proof. I would make my beds exactly as I have them now. These are 4 feet wide In our case, they're 10 foot long. You can have them as long or as short as you want them, depending on how space allows. What you don't need to do is what I did when we first arrived here in 2014. You don't need to be hiring any rootavators. You don't have to be getting your spade out and digging. All you need to do is roughly level the ground, remove any perennial weeds that are about. You can use a trowel for that, get as much of the root out as you can, and then lay your cardboard down, ensuring that it overlaps by a good 6 inches so that no light can penetrate the soil. And then you lay your compost on top. You want a good 4 to 6 inches of compost on top. Do make sure that it is that level of compost. Tread it down so that you ensure that there is 4 to 6 inches. This is important. Think of it as an investment in your soil. Most of us put money into the bank, and we get some interest in return. Well, with your soil, you're doing exactly the same thing, only with compost. You're investing in your soil, investing in its health. And I can tell you that we've been no dig since 2020. Our harvests are some 10% bigger than when we used to dig our soil. Where can you go these days to any high street bank and get a 10% return on what you've invested? I can't think of anywhere. But 10% more vegetables is 10% off your shopping bill. That's where your monetary savings come in. That 4 to 6 inches that you initially put onto your plots, that's only in year 1. In subsequent years, you'll only be using 1 inch or so of compost to ensure that there's enough fertility to grow at least 2 crops in a year. You could make some no-dig beds straight onto grass. You don't need to remove the grass. What you see here today has been a few years of work. If you're new to gardening, if you're a beginner gardener, you don't need to do everything all at once. Indeed, each of these 4-foot beds within these plots were done one at a time, as budgets would allow myself and Mrs. W to do it. The other thing, of course, is that you can make your own compost. When we first arrived here, we didn't actually have any compost because we hadn't been here. So we had to begin making compost. And we dabbled at it, but that was about all it was. Since we've become no-dig, we've become extremely proficient in making our own compost. A few weeks ago, we had a video out there where we're using our chickens to actually make our compost. Well, we had our first harvest just yesterday. You can see I already have a 1/4 bay full of compost. And if they can produce that every 4 to 6 weeks for us, we're going to have a lot of compost on our hands, Mrs. W.
Certainly are. I'm saving all of the kitchen scraps that goes into them now.
So what does no-dig mean? Well, to me, it means working with nature and not against it. First of all, the water retention in your soil is so much better because it has the compost mulch on top of it. When it does rain during the summer months, when we do get less rain, it trickles down to the soil. It doesn't evaporate. There are almost 0 weeds. Now, I'm not saying that you won't get weeds. You will. But when you're a digger, every time you dig in the autumn months, you cover all your weeds over, so it looks really great. What you do find is that as we move into spring, weeds start to spring up again. Now, it's something that you don't always think about if you're a digger, because you have nothing to compare and contrast. We made a video probably about 2 to 3 years ago. It's a video called Dig versus No Dig. I'll link it in the description. And you can clearly see on the no dig side just how advanced the plants and the harvest ultimately are. On the dug side, they were a full 3 to 4 weeks behind the no-dig bed. The chief reason for this is that every time you dig, you destroy all the fungal networks. Things like mycelium, they're really, really important for your plants. they can go out into the next beds and they can feed your plants with more nutrients, more water if they need it. So therefore, once I transplant these, and these went in here in mid-March, so they haven't been in there very long. You can see they've really gotten away. And it's really important if you want to succession plant and be able to feed yourself for the majority of the year. If a cabbage or a Calabrese has got a 90-day growing period before it harvests, you want those to harvest within 90 days. Every week over that they don't do that, you have plants waiting that are not in your soil and growing away to give you the next harvest, which might be November, December, or January of next year. These plants here, I've got a row of Calets down here. And by the way, Belinda, I know you watch our channel, and we're very grateful for you to watching. She actually told us about Calets. And last year, myself and Mrs. W, we tried them for the first time. And we liked them so much that we've decided to do a whole row of them. They will be done successionally so that we get to enjoy them in this part of the year, but also later on in the year. So thank you, Belinda, for telling us about that. Remember I said earlier, you can grow 1, 2, 3 different vegetables in the same plot. Immediately we harvest what was here before. We then transplanted these. And this is a variety called Oreo. Absolutely gorgeous cauliflower, it really is. It protects the curd really well with all of these leaves. Look at that.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Very welcome harvest at this time of the year.
Oh, yes. So if I was a beginner gardener, what would I choose to grow? Well, I know it sounds really obvious, but grow something that you like to eat. What I can tell you is that whatever you grow in your space, no matter how big, you'll never taste anything as good ever again. Quick growing crops. Things like spring onions, carrots, beetroot. All of these things grow really, really quickly. And as you get your harvests, it'll give you lots of confidence going forward. You'll be thinking to yourself, I can grow things. I can do this. I might just be a beginner, but I've actually grown something and I've really, really enjoyed it. And by the way, we have a lot of gardeners that watch our channel that are vastly experienced. So I'll put a call out to you guys watching this video. I'll leave a pinned comment down below in the comments, but let us know, what would you do if you were starting your veg patch off right here and now? We get many comments on this channel and you'll find lots of information. Things that people have done and how they've actually managed to grow their veg. And always remember, everybody has to start somewhere. Of course, if I was a beginner gardener, I'd be thinking, I'll follow Mr. and Mrs. W and subscribe to their channel because they have lots of tips that will help you grow great vegetables. At the end of your plot, you could do something like we've done here, which is to build a wigwam. And in the early part of the year, let some peas scramble up it and get yourself some lovely fresh peas. As those harvests diminish and they're finished, you can replace them with things like runner beans, climbing French beans, and they will harvest for a long, long time. They'll have easily a 3-month harvesting period once they begin. You can fill your freezer up. That's another thing you can do when you grow your own so that you can enjoy those tastes later in the year. Mrs. W was reminding me earlier about some Ferrari beans that we grew last year. This year I've been inspired by Mark. Mark is a regular watcher of our channel. Always leaves a comment for us, which we really appreciate. And he actually sowed his much earlier. He told us about it last year. And this year, myself and Mrs. W have done exactly the same. You can see here that these are now ready to go out. I believe his are all ready, away and growing. As we'll go into that polytunnel, even before the tomatoes go in. We know exactly where the tomatoes are going to go, so they can go in already and already give us a lovely harvest of some lovely French beans sometime in June. But at the centre of all of this is no-dig. It's so quick, it's so easy. You can make it within hours and plant into it, and you're up and running. I often see in the comments that people say, your garden looks so lovely, Mr. W. How do you keep on top of it? No-dig is the answer, because it frees you up to do things like keeping the edges if you've got grass paths. The grass then doesn't grow into your plot, but it also looks really quite sharp and neat. It's enabled us to build a new chicken run so that we can get going a new composting system. I'd still be digging in January in this garden. If we weren't no-dig, I wouldn't be able to make that. I've prepped the greenhouse you can see here. That's all ready to go. As you can see in our polytunnel. Yesterday, on Saturday, I was adding the new paths, adding the next layer of compost on top of our beds, so that in about 2 to 3 weeks' time, we can get our tomatoes in there. So really, no-dig is a game changer. It frees you up to do all the things that you want to do and not the things that you really don't like doing. So if I was a beginner gardener, you can take as much advice as you like about growing, what to grow, when to grow, but start with no-dig. You'll be growing straight away and you'll never, ever look back. I mentioned earlier in the video that we actually made a no-dig bed in just 3 hours. All it took, just 3 hours. And we planted up 400 onions. So if you want more inspiration and you want to see the method as we did it, then why not watch this video next?